I'm Karen Hammond. I'm a women's health nurse practitioner in Birmingham, Alabama, and I am the founding partner for a private practice also located in Birmingham, Alabama. So I'd like to tell you a little bit about my story and how I found my way into reproductive medicine and how I know now that it's my passion and my purpose. Back in the early 80s, there was a huge nursing shortage, and I was finishing nursing school, and I wanted to work at 3 to 11. I wanted to sleep until it got warm and then stay out with my friends to the wee hours of the morning. And I worked in OB and in the emergency room. Then I realized after some time had passed, while I loved both those departments, I realized that I really didn't want to sleep that late. And I couldn't really go out because my friends had jobs with normal hours. And so I thought about looking for a job with more normal hours to try to get away from shift work. And I heard about a gentleman at the university here in Birmingham who was looking for somebody for 6 months while his nurse finished graduate school. Thought, okay, I'm in my early 20s, I'm young and bulletproof. So I interviewed for the job knowing it would give me good experience interviewing, if nothing else. And lo and behold, he offered me the job. So I took it. And it's embarrassing to think back how little money I made at that point. I took a pay cut from working in the hospital to working in an office, but I knew that it was going to be great experience for me. I knew very little about reproductive medicine when I started. And it was probably within the first couple of weeks that I realized, gosh, I can really learn a lot from my patients. Because I tell everybody that's new to this field that the patients know so much more than we do for a nice long time. And even after decades in this field, I realize how smart my patients are and how much homework they do and how really interested they are, not only in getting pregnant, but learning behind the scenes what's working, what needs to happen, and really being involved in their own health care. And that's one of the many things I love about reproductive medicine. Well, the 6-month job that I applied for ended up turning into a permanent job within just a few weeks. And I myself went on back to graduate school after a few years, got my master's degree. And I realized, for me, at least in academics, the more involved I was and the more motivated I was, I felt like I was getting pulled more and more away from patient care. And direct patient care is really my passion. So one of my physician colleagues and I, my collaborating physician, he and I decided we would start a private practice, which we did. And I worked with him for 30 years until he retired. Then I went on to get my doctoral degree, kind of at the encouragement of my mom. And I realized that even though that was probably my terminal degree, I doubt I'll go back to school. I'm still learning every single day. And more recently, I have wanted to try to make a difference for patients to bring the cost down for fertility treatment. I see people every day that have borrowed money, that are borrowing from friends, having yard sales, doing whatever they can to try to raise money to be able to afford a single cycle of treatment. And it kind of breaks my heart because I know that money is not a sole thing that makes for a good parent. I actually grew up of modest means, and I have the best parents on the whole planet. So in fact, I didn't really even know that we were of modest means because I thought my parents were just cooler than anybody else's. My mom could have some fun mealtime activities like find the meat in the casserole, and we didn't realize that it was just stretching the meat. We thought it was, just kind of a fun thing, and that my mom could cook more creatively than anybody else. But money really didn't. It wasn't a driving force for us. We didn't mind going to work when we were in high school. We didn't mind having that early drive and ambition. We thought that was just the way that it was supposed to be. So now my goal is to help people just like my parents to become parents. I would like to encourage the cost for all of the treatment to be able to go down. And hopefully with our new practice, we can be trendsetters. Now, having this as a career for, gosh, into my fourth decade now, has been absolutely amazing. It's been crazy to watch from the time the first IVF baby was born in this country to moving to using donor eggs and doing ICSI and retrieving sperm from men. Just all the different things that have gone on. Now we can tell if an embryo is chromosomally normal before we transfer it. So many advances have been made in the field. So it's never been boring for me. And I've always loved every single minute of it. You know, the job that I was hired for in the early 80s is certainly not the job that I have now. And that's not just a factor of my education and my career advancement. But I remember a friend of mine that I worked with for at least a decade. She was encouraging me to listen to a church podcast that she from her church, and the pastor talked about finding your purpose in life. And I went into my friend after I listened to the podcast on the way home from work and said, "Gosh, I was in tears. I just didn't know what my purpose in life was." I had always wanted children. I was older when I got married, and I was never blessed to have biological children. Have three amazing stepsons. But I wondered, gosh, what is my purpose? Maybe I don't have a purpose. And she said, "Karen, you are living your purpose. Your purpose is to build families." And when she said that, I realized she was exactly right. And once I put that in the forefront of my mind, that this is my divine purpose, it has made every aspect of my career and may seem hokey, but actually of my life has really changed. I've always treated people well, but since that day, I have treated people even more like their family. My coworkers, my patients, my real family, I think it's just made a huge difference that I know that this is my divine purpose. And I bet if you talk to other nurses in this field, they have probably found the same conclusion that I have, maybe just in a little bit different way. So my goal in my last decade of my career is to make fertility treatment more accessible and more affordable. We're bringing down the cost of an IVF cycle by about a third. The medication use is less, and we're finding that our pregnancy rates are essentially the same without some of the other add-on cost, if you will, that some programs charge. So I hope to leave my career and my legacy to be as that of someone who's made an impact in our field and an impact on our patients. Whether people get pregnant or not, and we pray that every single one of them do, we want the experience to be a positive one, and a positive life experience, and hopefully an experience where they get to take home the prize at the end.